So, getting right back into our feat talk. We have from the basic rules the grappler feat. You need to have at least 13 strength, so you have to be stronger than the average bear. Which I don't know why it's 13. If you want to do it like that, do it where you have one of your modifier increases at least. 13 is such an odd number.
Numbers.
Anyway, no, you need 13 strength, and you develop a skill necessary to hold your own in close quarters. Or you could just be a monk. You have advantage on attack rolls against a creature you are grappling. You can use your action to try to pin a creature grappled by you. To do so, you make another grapple check. If you succeed, both you and the creature are restrained until the grapple ends. I wouldn't really tell. Again, this would be one where I would say, you can learn this. I wouldn't want you to take it as an actual feat.
I guess it's specific. So where you could fighter, I guess when.
In fact, speaking of the fighter, didn't they add something to a fire for grappling where you can actually do additional damage?
It's the unknown fighting style. So I guess if you took the unknown fighting style for the fighter, took grappler, I guess you can make it work. You can grapple them and then continuously with advantage. And since they're in the grapple, they'll take like an extra D4 or D6 damage each time it starts because you put them in a headlock. So I guess in that case it could be good, but any other character,
Nah, but I definitely.
Especially that second part where you have to use an action to pin a creature and you both end up restrained. I don't. It's like that.
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, I guess it makes it hard for you to hurt each other because you're both restrained.
Yeah.
Well, no, I don't know why. I don't know why you're both restrained. I guess you go into like a full Nelson stranglehold, and it takes everything you have to do that. But now this is not a good. It is not good. It's just not good. But the next one
could be good. But
the next one is good. We have from the player's handbook, the Great Weapon Master. You've learned to put the weight of your weapon to your advantage, letting its momentum empower your strikes. You gain the following benefits. On your turn, when you score a critical hit with a melee weapon, or reduce a creature to 0 HP with 1, you can make a melee attack as a bonus action. Ha! Take that, Berserker Barbarian. No exhaustion for you. And before you make a melee attack with a heavy weapon that you are proficient in, you can choose to take a -5 penalty to attack roll. If your attack hits, you add 10 to the attack's damage. I do now notice that it has heavy weapon specific. So it can't be a versatile weapon, it has to be a heavy weapon.
Indeed. Great sword, great axe,
which if you look back in Critical Role, they did do some, I think it was like that Dwarven Thrower, which was a one-handed weapon. I think whenever Grog two-handed it, they did some Great Weapon Master. I don't know if that was just a their thing or... Because, I don't know, I feel like there has been a slight change to Great Weapon Master. Didn't it used to be just a weapon in two hands?
No, it was always heavy. It was always a heavy thing.
But no, it's the Barbarian's weapon. It belongs to the Barbarian.
Barbarian, Fighter, Paladin actually is a really good use for this weapon.
He does, but it belongs to the Barbarian.
Only because Reckless Attack.
Because of Reckless Attack. Or the Samurai. It can belong to the Samurai because their one ability lets them do advantage on all their attacks in one thing. But, no, this definitely leans more on the Barbarian because he just has the higher chance of doing it. And then even later on, if he's level 20, which, everyone who's level 20 are God tier, he's got that extra guaranteed strength, which makes his attack chance to hit even higher. And what was the, I think they had an AC thing. They said it stopped being worthwhile once around 18 AC.
Yeah, the higher the AC the enemy, the less useful this will become.
Yeah.
Same with Sharpshooter. The only problem is Sharpshooter just slightly better just because the archery style.
I mean...
Yeah, a lot more.
I wouldn't even say that. I just say sharpshooter's better because you don't have to worry about your minimum range anymore. You know what? We'll talk about that when we get there. Let's just
Fair
tone that
enough.
back down. It's out of the way. Great weapon master, barbarian skill, absolutely glorious.
If you're using big weapons, this is definitely the choice.
Indeed,
Definitely,
indeed.
especially if you're trying to be that good, beefy damage dealer. 10 out of 10 would recommend.
Again, just take it if you're a barbarian. I don't care about those other guys.
That's true. The barbarian do get benefit out of it.
Mm-hmm. Then we come up to the next thing, which is from Tasha's Cauldron. Not Critical Role, but in Tasha's, you get the Gunner feat. You have quick hand and eye. You have a quick hand and keen eyes when employing firearms. You have an increase to your dex. You gain proficiency with firearms. You ignore the loading property, and being within 5 feet of a hostile creature doesn't impose disadvantage. So I can do. Hold up here. So the Gunner, like it's immediately better than that one feat we looked at earlier. What was it? It was that firearm expert.
Yeah, the firearm specialist. They don't count it since But what I was gonna say, so I think it's a really good feat. Your campaign might not use guns, but even so, I think this is, unless you're using a hand crossbow, I think this feat is just generally better.
I mean, it does share that one thing with the crossbow expert, which it just says ranged attack rolls.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Unless you're using like the hand crossbow for that bonus action attack, I think this feat is just better than the other one. Just ranged users.
Yeah.
Even if your campaign doesn't use guns.
But no, this is still definitely better for a fighter, the actual gunslinger. I mean, well, it'd be better for a fighter if he's not a gunslinger, because then you get the actual proficiency in firearms, but that's beside the point. But no, it's aight.
Like I said, if I wasn't using a hand crossbow, I would definitely take this over.
Yeah. Although I guess I do think handguns tend to do more damage anyway.
I think like the handgun did like a 1d10, which is like the highest number. Yay.
Alright, let me look here. So if we're looking, we got a palm pistol, which does a D8. We got a regular pistol, which is a D10. We got a musket, which is D12. The pepper box, which is a D10. A blunderbuss, that is 2D8. Bad news, which is 2D12. And a hand mortar, which is 2D fire. 2D8 fire.
Yeah.
And then you always got to remember that the handguns and the guns in general have their misfire, which if you roll a natural 1, 2, or 3, depending on the weapon, it just doesn't work. But that's beside the point. It breaks. Either way, enough about the guns. Let's talk back to another thing out of the player's handbook, the healer. You're an able physician. Alright, we don't need that medicine skill no more. Now, when you use a healer kit to stabilize a dying creature, they also regain 1 HP. And as an action, you can spend 1 use of the healer's kit to tend to a creature or store 1d6 plus 4 hit points, plus an additional hit points equal to their maximum number of hit dice. The creature can't regain hit points from this feat again until they finish a short or long rest.
This is actually a pretty good feat.
Mm-hmm.
I think the heals for this is pretty good. So if you want to play like a doctor or something like that, I would definitely suggest picking this up.
I would also, this is one feat that I would also very much add, like, some stuff out of Grim Hollow, or like, I think there's a thing in the actual DMG for, like, lingering injuries.
Yeah.
That way you can use this to help actually treat those, and give it more of a thing like, oh, you almost died, here you go. I mean, we got a lot of things for when people are dying, but, this is definitely a nice thing.
I would suggest taking it. I mean, it's niche, but I would definitely suggest taking it.
It's a niche, but the way you can roleplay it's very nice.
But it's still a good feat. I still think it deserves to be called a good feat, though.
Mm-hmm. So, coming up next, we got the Player's Handbook giving us Heavily Armored, which you need to be proficient with medium armor first, and you have trained the Master Heavy Armor, and you gain an additional point to Strength to a max of 20, and you gain proficiency with Heavy Armor. So this is just one of those armor abilities which lets you get it. Honestly, if you're looking at these, I kind of wish they didn't require you to know how to use light or medium or heavy, because there are people who can wear very heavy stuff without needing to know how to wear the lighter stuff.
Yeah, but could you imagine taking this as a wizard or something?
Yes.
Speaking of which, either way, yeah, I think this feat is actually pretty good. Yeah, I think it's pretty good throughout the entire career of it too.
I mean, I think one thing some people say are good for wizards is like 1 point into a cleric that gains proficiency with heavy armor, and then just going the rest of the way with wizard just so you can have armor.
Yeah. Or the same with fighter. Go with fighter first, and then go wizard, and you can wear heavy armor.
Yeah. No, but definitely.
It's pretty good.
This one, no. I do not consider the heavily armored master good. I think it's actually terrible.
Oh, wait, hold on. This was not the one I thought it was it?
Yeah, you were thinking the one where you reduce the damage you receive, which is the next one in line. But no. Out of the ones that give you armor proficiency, this is, without a doubt, the worst one.
I mean, I guess you could put it on a ranger. They don't get heavy armor.
Do they get medium armors? Rangers?
Yeah, they get medium armor. Yeah, they get medium light armor.
You could also put this on the Hexblade.
Yeah, you can put it on a Hexblade and get heavy armor for that.
Yeah, but no, I definitely, if this didn't require you to be proficient in an armor before it, I could see this being better than it is, just as is, and it doesn't give you anything else. Like when we get to like medium armor master and light armor master, they actually add additional, not impressive, but they add stuff.
Yeah, because you have strength increasing, because you have a little bump to strength, so if it's like odd or something, you could bump it up.
I mean,
but no, I'd probably avoid it. I'd probably avoid it.
Yeah, I'd just tell you to stop. Get help. But coming up to the feat that Hatter does like, and the one that he is thinking is good, is the Heavily Armored Master from the Player's Handbook. You need to be proficient with heavy armor, and you gain an additional point of strength, and while wearing heavy armor, blunt, piercing, and slashing damage you take from non-magic is reduced by 3. Now this is actually pretty good. Like, if for some reason your DM makes you go through an area that, like, just, like, little damaging spots that do, like, 1 or 2 or something damage, well, I mean, you're gonna be ignorant of it now. I mean, the extra point in strength, that's nice, I guess.
Yeah. I really like the damage reduction. It's really good for early game, and even later on when you fight, like, dragons, that was still good. Because I don't think there's any creature... Could be wrong about this. But I don't think there's any creature that naturally has magical weapons, so you will always reduce their damage.
Yeah, for most part, like, you're right, I don't think there's a lot of things that do bludgeoning piercing that is non-magical. Like, maybe a ghost or something?
Like, yeah, like, that dragon can attack, like, 3 times, so, like, if it did, like, 40 damage, you could, like, reduce it by, like, 9, so... It's still a pretty good feat.
Either way, no, but it's one worth taking. I would probably take it at the earliest level as opposed to the latest level. Just because of the high damage values. I mean, and then you could think this could probably stack with, well, never mind. Barbarians can't rage while wearing heavy armor.
I cannot.
For some reason. Apparently, I cannot be angry while in a tin suit.
It'd be like that sometimes.
I think that'd
probably be more angrier.
Exactly. I was gonna say I'd probably be my angriest if you locked me in a tin suit. It was like I want my dick swinging around and slapping bitches as I'm killing them. Either way, no, decent feat. I'm happy about it.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Coming up to our next one, the Infernal Constitution from Xanathar's Guide to Everything. You need to be a tiefling or a feral tiefling. I don't know why they're not just considered the same thing. Fiendish blood runs strong in you, unlocking a resilience akin to that possessed by some fiends. You gain a point of constitution to a max of 20, you have resistance to cold and poison damage, and you have advantage on saving throws against being poisoned. Honestly?
Pretty good racial feat.
I do think this is actually a really good racial feat. I could kind of say I wish this was on didn't have the limitations because you could like roleplay a very nice person with just a little bit of demon blood in them if you got this feat with that, but you know.
Yeah. Like I said, the Ranger featured meh. Like the only one that makes sense so far is probably like the halfling one, because they actually need the trade to make it work. All the other ones are just like no.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? No, if you really want to do this, really, I guess you could take custom lineage, and then I guess you could just roleplay you being like a human with demonic blood in you.
I mean, you could roleplay anyone with demonic blood in them. You could roleplay a Dragonborn with demonic blood, a Goliath with demonic blood. Like, it doesn't have to be like custom.
I mean, the custom lineage is not base specific. You can just
smash things. Yeah, I know, but no, it's just like it doesn't really need this.
I think it's a pretty good feat, though.
It is a good feat. Like, if you're looking at the Tiefling, they now have resistance to 3 different damages, so they're basically a barbarian, but they're not resisting the physical. Now, well, actually, be a barbarian Tiefling. Now you resist 6 different damages naturally.
Just don't go totem, otherwise it's a waste.
Yeah, don't go totem, otherwise you're just insulting yourself. And then, obviously, the advantage against saving throws, that's always pretty good.
Poison. That poison's brutal. That
Alright,
poison.
Alright, skipping this one useless feat, we're going to hop straight into Keen Mind. No, I'm joking. Inspiring Leader, which you get from the player's handbook.
The best feat.
You need to have at least 13 charisma, because for some reason we play with odd numbers. You can spend 10 minutes inspiring your companions.
You know what I think it is? Every time I hear odd number, I think it's because that's what the multi-classing requirements for basically all are. I think it's only 13.
But why is it still odd?
I don't know.
No, as I was saying, shoring up their resolve to fight. When you do so, choose up to 6 friendly creatures, which can include yourself, within 30 feet of who you can see and hear and can understand you. Each creature gains temporary hit points equal to your level and your charisma, being a maxed out of 25, and a creature can't gain this again until they finish a short or long rest. So, it's bad.
It's a good feat.
It's bad at early levels. But it's one of the easier ways to get temporary hit points. It's a really easy way to get temporary hit points. And again, this would be one that I'd have you kind of learn, just like how Matt did for Keyleth.
Did she actually learn that? I think she did.
Yeah, when she finished her Aramente, she got this.
Spoilers.
You're welcome, people.
What was I say? I mean, I feel like even at lower levels, if like you're paladin, sorcerer.
Yeah, I mean, I could see
like this could be good.
I could see your charismatic people using this, but still, it's. I mean, no one. You're talking for 10 minutes. This kind of seemed kind of stupid.
Yeah, I don't know anyone who's gonna make you talk for 10 minutes, but the benefit itself, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Because like, it's still temporary hit points you're getting. So even at like level 3, 4, that is like if you had like what +3 or +4 or something like that. That's still like 8 temporary hit points you can give like your entire party.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I think being at 20th level and getting that 25, I think even at that level, that's going to be a respectable amount of temporary hit points. I just, Like, I wish it.
Could be better. And I think it's okay. I think okay is pretty well.
Also, what if you had a negative charisma modifier? Well, what if instead of giving them a temporary hit point, you gave them a negative hit point? Just sit there and verbally assault your teammates for 10 minutes and then make them all lose health.
I like this. Well, I mean, to be fair, it won't work because you still your level, so... You just give them one less.
Be a variant human who rolled really bad. So let's say he's level 1 and he has a -3. You're gonna lose like at least 1 HP whenever he talks, and then just sit there and talk for like, well, You can only do it once per short rest, so you can't sit there and kill people unless you
Also,
had a wizard who rolled really shit on his health.
That's another thing. It comes back every short rest, which is nice. You do it every short rest.
And I do believe you lose.
Are very nice. So.
I do believe you lose temporary hit points after a short rest. In fact, so there you go.
Yeah, you can just recharge the temporary hit points. It's good. It's okay, I think. It could be better, but I think it's okay for what if you really want to use it. Although if you're looking for temporary points, you probably should go like the, Twilight Cleric or something.
Or was it the aid spell?
Yeah, the aid spell gives you actual. Actually, I think the aid spell gives you actual HP.
Does it? I thought that was temporary.
No, it gives you actual HP. I think it gives you actual HP and boosts your maximum HP.
No, you're right.
It's pretty good too. Pretty good spell. 10 out of 10 would recommend on clerics and anyone else.
What level is this spell? It is a 2nd level spell, so yeah, that's not bad. Lasts for 8 hours.
I'm scared nicely because it's 5 each level. So.
And you can choose up to 3 people. I'm going to assume you can choose yourself as well, so.
You can.
Either way. So, hopping back out of that, we're going to look at the Keen Mind, which is from the Player's Handbook, and also the Bane of Matt Mercer. Because Caleb was an asshole with it. Liam O'Brien, you genius man. So
Caleb was best character.
so to a degree, this is a very niche kind of ha-ha ability, but with it you gain an increase to your intelligence of 1, but to a max of 20. You always know which way is north. You always know the number of hours left before the next sunrise or sunset, and you can accurately recall any information you have seen or heard within the past month. I mean, if you got someone who takes really good fucking notes, they basically are destroyed half of this. A lot of the times, people will just ask, what time of the day is it? It's about this time, or unless you're underground. And
it's sort of bad because it makes more work for the DM. But there is one good thing about this. There's only one, to be honest.
Yeah, that intelligence.
Well, no, not even that. It's being able to remember anything. Because if you're a wizard and you just happen to lose your spell book somehow,
you can remember all your spells.
You don't have to worry about losing anything because you remember all the spells you had. So there's that. Yeah. There's your upside to this.
Which I do feel like may have been another reason why Liam took this, is just in case, because he probably expected Matt to kill his book a bunch of times.
I mean, he killed his cat like 6, so.
Now, to be fair, the one guy just kicked him and killed the cat. Spoilers.
Spoilers. Matt Mercer murdered cats. Oh, no.
Alright, so after Keen Mind, we get to the Player's Handbook again, and we get lightly armored. So another armor thing, which I guess I have to kind of retract. Lightly armored and the heavily armored are kind of the shit tier armor packs, but at the same time, So when you get lightly armored, you gain an additional point of strength or dex to a max of 20. I would say dex, considering that's going to affect your armor, and you gain proficiency in light armor. So there's not really a lot to talk about on this because you're just gaining proficiency in light armor, which, if you're a wizard who does this, you're probably not going to gain a whole lot. You'll probably gain a little bit. But yeah, I guess the benefit of light armor is you always add your entire dex mod. So who knows? Maybe for some reason you're a wizard with really high dex, so you can actually have decent armor.
Is there a reason why a wizard shouldn't have high dex?
I mean, I guess you're right. Mage armor is kind of better than most of the rogue armors.
Like, the only time I think the light armor would be better than mage armor if you got magical light armor. But even then,
just think of the Elven Mill, which I think is like a chain shirt or something, which you automatically become proficient with.
Yeah, you could get that.
Yeah.
Be good.
Anyway, not really a lot to talk about on that one. Just kind of throw it over your shoulder, call it good.
Yeah, because I don't know any other class that doesn't get light armor.
Yeah. Sorcerer.
Is there a sorcerer get armor proficiency?
I'm pretty sure wizard and sorcerer, neither of those gain armor proficiency. I will look right now just so I can be like ha 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 ha. Nope, no armor proficiencies.
Okay, so yeah, I guess just sorcerer or wizard could take this and gain a little bit more AC. without having to expend a spell slot because, mage armor.
I'm still amused that druids can wear medium armor.
I hate druids.
Alright, our next feat on our list is the linguist from the player's handbook. You have studied languages and codes, gaining the following benefits. You get an extra point of int, you learn 3 additional languages, and you can create written ciphers. Others can't decipher unless you teach them. They succeed on an intelligence check equal to your intelligence score and proficiency bonus, or they use magic. Again, it's a niche one. It's one you gotta roleplay. But, having those extra languages in case the DM is like a skank.
Fuck. Go ranger and just know all the languages.
Or be a warlock with Eyes of the Runekeeper and just read all the languages.
That's true. That too.
Also, I'm pretty sure you're thinking the monk. I don't know if the ranger has ability.
Cool, but the ranger just gets a whole shit ton of languages because optional feats and everything came out.
It's fair.
I think the optional feats gives them 3 extra language proficiency, so have that, and wherever your race is, and then your background could give you more, and then you just fucking buffed up on feats and languages and shit.
My enemy shall know defeat. By the way,
you'll be able to insult everybody in every language. You'll be able to offend everyone in every language.
I mean, I guess being able to make the ciphers would be pretty neat, but I don't know, unless you're doing some weird heist thing and trying to keep stuff going, there's nothing stopping you from just turning to the person sitting next to you and they're being like, hey, I got an idea.
I don't know why. Yeah, I can't think of any other character I was gonna say rogue, but rogue already got thieves can't, so I don't know how useful it will be for them. Druids got their druidic language where they can speak in secret code, so it wouldn't be useful for them either.
Now,
Monks
to be fair,
can eventually speak all languages.
Yeah.
Shit, so.
And obviously, Eyes of the Runekeeper just make this kind of.
Yeah. You won't be able to write cipher, but you can sure as hell read it.
So this would be it's definitely a niche to the bad kind of feat. But you can still be amused.
Like I guess, listen, you want to make the feat a 10 out of 10? Take Vicious Mockery and then get all the languages you can and just insult everyone in every language. That is the best way to use this feat.
Yes, you use French first.
The Vicious Mockery is important for this feat.
Mm-hmm. Vicious Mockery, best cantrip.
Facts.
Not often can you shame a ghost to death. Or make a dwarf in a giant water puddle drown himself.
I aspire to be like this.
I'm looking at you, Scanlan. Either way. Next feat we have is probably, as arguably the best feat in the game. We have Lucky from the player's handbook. You have 3 luck points.
So.
Whenever you make an attack roll, an ability check, or a saving throw, you can spend 1 luck point to roll an additional d20. You can choose to spend one of your luck points after you roll the die, but before the outcome is determined. You choose which d20 is used for the attack roll, ability check, or saving throw. You can also spend 1 luck point when an attack is made against you, and you roll d20 and choose whether the attack uses yours or theirs. If more than one creature spends a luck point to influence the outcome of a roll, the points cancel each other out. No additional dice are rolled. And you regain these when you finish a long rest.
So one thing I want to point out with this is I'm not exactly sure why they included the other person if they had a lucky feat. Are enemies out here using the lucky feat too?
I mean, if your DM really wanted to, yes.
I guess so, but what if
don't
one
get
player spend their luck feat to negate the other player's luck feat?
I mean, if they're fighting each other, yeah. I mean, just imagine it. Just say you got your guys and you've had them encounter these group of bandits, but there's always this one bandit that gets away just by some sheer luck, and at that point you're like, yeah, this guy's lucky. He has to have the lucky feat. There's the only reason he's alive. And then you just sit there and piss the rogue off.
Fair point. That's a fair point. You
like
and everything, you still live.
Yeah. Like if I go and set encounters and I have just the same enemy for some reason in each of these and he gets away somehow, and if he somehow kills or knocks down a player and still gets away, I'm gonna give him a lucky feat.
So, my opinion on it, it's a good feat. Don't get me wrong, it's a good feat, but I do think the feat is overhyped, and here's why. It's still a random. It's advantage on anything. Like obviously,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it is advantage, but it's still a random chance. So you could roll a natural one and then re-roll a natural one. It's not a
Unless you're a
guaranteed
halfling.
success. That is true.
Because this doesn't use a reaction. It just says you can use one.
That is true. But
A
like
lucky halfling
any
rogue.
case, though, like in any other case, though, it's not guaranteed success. So you could still roll bad. The only thing I think that really makes this good is that you can use this. Like the only absolute thing that you can use this on that would work all the time is if someone crit hit you.
Yeah.
I think that's the only time it would be actually really useful.
But you gotta look at it. You can use your luck after the roll of the die, but before the outcome is determined. If someone kind of rolls a crit, you automatically know what's going to happen. That means that's determined. So once they roll, you have to look at their face, and before they shout out their excitement, like, re-roll that shit!
Yeah. And the only time I think is a guaranteed success. Otherwise, I do think it's overhyped. But it is a good feat, though. It's definitely a feat worth taking if you really wanted to use one.
It is most certainly the feat of rogues.
Rogues do love it.
Right.
I mean, I guess technically you could go that one wizard to like I think it's divination.
Divination,
and have, like,
yeah.
all the rolls.
You gotta be that divination halfling. Roll 2 natural ones in the morning for your one rolls, and just tell everyone like, I'm going to pick that lock. You roll a natural 1. What?
It is hilarious.
Either way. Next up on the list, again in the player's handbook, you got Mage Slayer. When a creature within 5 feet of you casts a spell, you can use your reaction to make a melee attack against that creature. When you damage a creature that isn't concentrating on that spell, that creature has disadvantage on the saving throw. And you have advantage on saving throws against spells cast by creatures within 5 feet of you. So that wild magic sorcerer blowing himself up with a fireball, you have a slightly better chance.
Honestly, I think this is a bad feat.
I don't like it.
I don't know. They made it the proximity so close. Like the only good thing about this is the disadvantage on saving throws because you don't have to be at range for that one to work. So if, like you can actually smack a person from a while, and you know they'll have disadvantage on saving. But everything else requires you to be 5 feet within the spellcaster. You know how hard it is to keep up with the spellcaster, considering they can teleport and shit. You know the struggle.
Well, if they go to teleport, you do get that chance to hit them real quick.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying they can already teleport. So, like, by the time you make their way, they can just teleport like 60 feet away, and then you gotta go like chase them across the world.
Well, that's just when you pull out your longbow and shoot them in the dick. Or like one of your other mages.
If you really want to disrupt spellcaster, going range with this would probably be better.
Yeah.
Just so you can just give disadvantage on all those things.
I could definitely see this being more useful on a ranger or a rogue with a crossbow.
Maybe a paladin. I think a paladin.
Well,
because it was the natural saving throws and stuff. I can see them.
Ignoring the fact that you need to be 5 feet for a melee attack reaction, you could also put it on another spellcaster because it just says if you damage a creature that is concentrating. So it could be a spell you hit them with.
That's true. Could hit them with all the spells and make them. Yeah, I think a paladin could probably get a lot of use out of this.
I can believe in that. Like, I could believe he could actually do pretty well with it. And to be fair, yeah, I could actually just for visual representation, I could definitely see a paladin being a mage slayer, an inquisitor, so to say.
Inquisitor and smite all the thoughts.
Mm-hmm. But no, it's on the lower end of the spectrum of enjoyable things.
It's niche and on the bad side, leaning on the bad side. And
Like maybe increase the distance when you see a creature with a spell cast, and just make it an attack in general. Because I mean, if I'm 30 feet away and I got like a bow and I see someone start casting a spell, I'm not gonna just be like, oh well, I'll just wait a minute. I'll be like, oh no, you don't. Because I mean, you're using a reaction to do this, and reactions are kind of the butt of the moment. It's a reaction. You see something, you're like, oh shit. I don't think I just need a melee weapon to do that.
Yeah, maybe for balancing reasons. I don't know, but I think it's a bad feat.
I mean, I do have to agree it's for balancing reasons, because you can also look at the thing like any time a mage casts a thing, and if you didn't have that little limitation on it, just like every time he goes to cast something, bam, he's getting hit. Yeah. And just imagine, you got one wizard BBBG, and you have 4 different players with Mage Slayer. Every time he tries to cast something, he's just getting...
That man gonna get touched violently.
He's just getting touched violently.
This man gonna get bonked so hard.
Nah, but it's... like, honestly, you're right. All I really like is just the disadvantage on the saving throw.
And this will be the most useful out of all the stuff here.
Yeah. Well, let's take away the reaction attack, and instead of the advantage on saving throws against spells by 5 feet, just say advantage against saving throws cast by casters, not magical traps, just by spellcasters that you can see, and just give you advantage against their spells. I could definitely enjoy that a lot more. Might sound a little overpowered, but...
It's a weird balance. Because honestly, if you're the spellcaster, you probably target them first, so you want to get up close and personal.
Mm-hmm.
But let's be honest, there's no spellcaster that's going to allow you to get within 5 feet of them, you know?
Without teleporting away.
Yeah.
Unless you teleport to them.
Yeah, that's true. I guess if you could teleport, you know, you could solve that problem by teleporting towards them and then bonking them when they try to teleport away.
Don't worry, you got Misty Step.
Yeah, that's true. Misty Step do be the bro.
Misty Step do be the bro. Alright, we'll go one more, and we'll make it a fast one here. We got Magic Initiate from the Player's Handbook. Choose a class: the Bard, the Cleric, the Druid, the Sorcerer, the Warlock, or the Wizard. You can learn 2 cantrips from their class spells, and in addition, you gain 1 first-level spell from the same list. You can learn that spell and cast it at its lowest level. Once you do this, you must finish the long rest before you can use again. The spell casting for these depends on the class you choose. Charisma for the Charisma base, Wisdom for the Wisdom base, and Intelligence for the Wizard.
Intelligence for the Wizard.
Honestly, this is that one thing because of the Magic Initiate. They should have not made Artificer Initiate it, and they should have just added his stuff in here. Honestly, would have been better.
Maybe. I still like the tool that it gives you, though.
Yeah, but...
Yeah. So, this is a good one. And this is a good...
I mean, just take it on... Just take this and be a wizard, be a bard. Just take it on the actual classes and get a little more bang at the early.
But you know what I dislike about this feat?
Mm-hmm.
It's only a specific class. You can't mix and match them. You know what else I don't like about the feat is that it does not have what Shadow Touch and Fate does have. Where the first level spell you get, you can't actually cast into a long rest. So if you have a spell slot, you can't actually cast that spell.
Yeah.
Unlike Shadow Touch or Fate Touch, which I think is disappointing. Hopefully they rework that eventually.
Yeah. No, but the two cantrips are always nice.
Yeah, the 2 cantrips. It depends, because like I said, the clerics don't really have cantrips. Like, it has guidance, but other than that, it's kind of like, cantrip department. But
I mean, they just need to take some of the druid cantrips. Surely they're not that bad.
Like I said, I think guidance is like the only noticeable cantrip they have. I don't think there's any other real cantrip that's worth taking. But also,
I'm very amused just by thinking about this, because, like, they don't neither really have a good one. Like, I guess the druid has a frostbite cantrip, and they got poison spray.
Savagery and stuff like that.
No, I can imagine a cleric taking this and then taking the magic stone cantrip and just throwing fucking rocks at him.
Holy pebbles of God.
Pebble of God. What? Dink! Ow! That actually hurt.
It's the commandments broken up.
He's
literally throwing the
he
word
turns
of God
him.
to you.
He turns himself into a grudge thrower.
Yes. But yeah,
This one
like
says,
this.
"I hate you because you sneezed in my direction."
Yeah, I think this is a good video. It's just a good way to get vicious mockery on characters that wouldn't normally have it. So it allows you to have a little magic sprinkled on characters that, don't want a really magical base.
I would definitely, like, I'd probably put it on a warlock just so he can get, because he only ever has like 2 cantrips.
Why would I need more cantrips when I have Eldritch Blast? What do you think this is?
I think it's stupid.
Yeah,
really, he only gets like 2 cantrips until like a certain level. I mean,
but he got
look at this
all
details
the spell
here.
slots.
A warlock? Spell slots? What?
Indeed. Not all the spell slots. The fucking There's a higher level spell. He gets them before anyone else.
Yeah, so the warlock, he starts off with 2, and he gets 3 all the way.
Gets like...
He gets a max of 4. He gets a max of 4 cantrips.
He just acts. He just gets like 5th level spots than anyone else does in the game.
I guess he's a little better off than the artificer, because the artificer only gets 4 and it takes him much longer.
Yeah.
But I guess he gains the same number of cantrips as a lot of them, because even the bard gets 4 cantrips. Although I don't think the bard has any really good ones other than insulting your family.
Yeah, it's just the rate that they get. I think they have Mind Silver now, which could be good.
I mean, the clerics will actually get 5 cantrips, and they start off with 3, which is a little better than all the other classes I've looked at so far. Druid, what about you? Druid, you get 4 cantrips, starting off with 2, so far the cleric has the best, but I'm coming up to the fighter and the wizard and the sorcerer, so we'll see which one of them has the best. So sorcerer gets a max of 6. They start off with 4, which is very neat. Now wizard, do you break the mold? Do you defeat everyone? Nope. They start off with 3, get a max of 5. They actually get less than the sorcerer? Excuse me? They get less than the sorcerer. The sorcerer has 6 cantrips for a long time. Well, I guess that's what you get when you have kind of locked in spells.